Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to the show. There's not much going on in regards to good news or fun news or anything like that. Everything feels like it's just god awful, bleak, terrible, wrong. So let's talk about some of it because I mean, how else are we going to get through this fucking quarantine? How else are we going to get through this situation if not remaining absolutely vigilantly cynical and hating the world around us? I mean, all things considered, nothing has really fundamentally fucking changed at all in the past month. But people are getting antsy. People are getting edgy. You've been around Twitter recently. It's more of a nightmare than usual, which is hard to say because you know, it's fucking Twitter, right? Like it's Twitter normally is not as bad as it is right now. And that is saying something because it's probably the one place we shouldn't all be, but we're all there because this whole social distancing thing. And I really do feel like when I look at the world around me, when I gauge how people are interacting with one another, people just really want to interact. They just really want to be around other people. They crave that human contact. They crave that human discussion. They crave physical interactions with one another, and not just in a sexual way. Although I do think a lot of people want to smash. I think a lot of people want to smash. I think a lot of people really need to smash. I think they need to fuck. If I'm being honest with you, it's something that needs to happen, right? Like making a map of Hawaii on her stomach or her back, either way, needs to happen. Everyone getting their rocks off. To go back to that quote, there's a movie where Alec Baldwin says, "Sex isn't over until both people get their fortune cookies," right? So it's like, yeah, people need to have sex. Is basically what I'm trying to say. It's what I'm trying to boil down here too. But unfortunately, the world we live in right now, that could be fatal. No, I'm not even making this up. In the state of New York, right now, they've come out and they've said rim jobs are bad. Don't perform rim jobs. They've said this, legitimately talking about eating ass. Don't eat ass. So don't do it, right? Which I know at this point in time, Bunty King is on suicide watch. I get that, but still, you don't want that. And I love you, Bunty, but I had to make that joke. But no, a lot of people out there are afraid of any kind of physical contact because they don't know if they're gonna die. You go to the store, people have like, they're building their hazmat armor is what I've noticed when I go to the store, when I pick up orders, right? When I'm out there doing my deliveries, I look around, I look at the world around me. I'm out there yesterday doing deliveries in t-shirt, shorts, flip-flops, and my sunglasses, because it's nice in Washington. It was like 65 degrees. I could actually do that. And people are looking at me like I was the crazy one, which I probably was. Like, don't you fear the corona? And I'm like, it's going to kill me. It's going to kill me. Either way, I wear gloves. I have hand sanitizer. I wash my hands. I don't touch my face. I disinfect my phone. Like, what more do you want from me? Don't take away my shorts and my flip flops. Because I'm not in Southern California right now. So I have to kind of pretend when I can that I'm in Southern California. But no, people are just like, I saw this guy, thought he was an employee of a store. Turns out he's an Instacart shopper. And this dude is rocking like almost head to toe, everything covered up. So my thoughts on that were like people are kind of piecemealing hazmat suits together. They're using, like non protective gear to manufacture protective gear. They're like, well, if I just spray Lysol on myself, I'm fine. If I cover myself in isopropyl alcohol and don't light a match, I'm fine. People are scared. People are crazy. People are wild. And it's only going to get worse. But as long as the supply chains remain open across the board, we're definitely going to be in a position where things are going to probably be a little bit on the better side. So I think that's something to consider here overall. And it's going to be definitely an interesting day nonetheless. But I thought it would be kind of funny to talk about some of the weirder stuff going on today. Like this one here, coming in from Vice. So, your mileage may vary. But this is from this morning. Porn company offers performers equipment to safely shoot porn at home. Now, to some people out there, this might be a mind-blowing revelation that you can shoot pornography at home. But to the rest of us who are citizens of the internet, who have been around any form of the internet, whether it is Twitter or it is Reddit or it's 4chan or it's, if you know anything about cam whores, this is not uncommon. I would argue right now. See, I view this right now like I view the late night hosts, Colbert and Kimmel and Fallon and Myers, that are shooting at home and they're trying to like figure out how to do this YouTube at home thing. And the rest of us who do YouTube are looking at them like, what the hell's wrong with you? You guys are multimillionaires and you can't even piece together a decent sounding microphone. The hell's wrong with you? Right? This is kind of the same thing where it's like the at home professionals, they know what they're doing. They're prepared. Everyone else is now trying to scramble to get them C920 webcams that have now been marked up to around $400 on Amazon. I'm not making that up either. C20 webcams, Logitech C920s, have been purchased in bulk from Amazon, or no, sorry, from Best Buy or what other locations are selling it, and then they're being marked up on the internet. Like, I mean, I've got a spare C920, and I'm looking at that thing going like, yeah, I could probably get about 400 for it right now. I might do it. Got to hustle where you can hustle, right? You got to hustle where you can hustle. That is the name of the world. That is the name of the game. That is where we live right now, unfortunately. So here we go. All right. So it says here that Vixen Media Group, the owner of some of the most popular online porn, says it will spend or send $250,000 worth of equipment and props to performers so they can keep working at home during the pandemic. $250,000. I mean, there's a lot of money in cam whoring. From my understanding. I mean, there's a lot of lonely dudes out there, people who are working from home who, you know, are going to have that extra income that they're not spending on transportation right now. They might be willing to blow both literally and figuratively on a little bit of digital company. It says here, studio porn performers are taking serious economic blow. Pun probably not intended. It's Vice. They don't have a sense of humor. During the coronavirus pandemic last month, the National Trade Organization for the Adult Industry asked studios to stop shooting new content until again, gotta love that the puns. For many, in-person studio work, collaboration with other performers, and access to set equipment is a huge part of their income. And without it, more are forced to wade into the world of independent production, a transition that's not always easy. What's the hyperlink on that one for? Okay. It's an article on Vice about how to make making money on OnlyFans is a lot harder than you think. Yeah. Look, and I'll be fair on that one too. When you think about it, OnlyFans is like, it allows you to do a lot, but you got to have that personality built up in order to sell it. And oftentimes the people on there who do better are the ones who you wouldn't predominantly think would get naked or kind of, you know, they're the ones that you watch that are generally clothed. If you're looking at a porn star and they have an OnlyFans, it's kind of redundant, isn't it? I mean, I'm not like trying to knock their talent, but I mean, like, okay, for example, like I am a fan of Mia Malkova. I have been for quite some time. I know she's got a premium Snapchat. I cannot just fathom the idea of paying for a premium Snapchat when she's got just oodles and oodles and oodles of content that I can access for free on a litany of different websites. Now, not to say that she doesn't have her hustle. She does have her hustle, and to that hustle, I support it. But I have to look at it from like the perspective of like, well, what am I going to get? You know, she's got a Reddit, and you can look on the Reddit and you can see what a lot of that stuff is. So it gets leaked over there. It's like, okay, why am I paying for this? Now, on the other hand, one of the reasons why I bring up Mia Malkova specifically, she also has a Twitch channel that she does play games on occasionally. And that's a hustle I can get behind, because that to me is where you get that dichotomy in between the porn star and the person, where it's like, instead of just going like, oh, hey, do you want to see me, you know, like take a load to the chin sort of thing, because you would see a fair amount of that in those videos. Instead, it's the exact opposite, right? Then it becomes the taboo, or like I should say the unknown, and not necessarily the forbidden, but when you just see a porn star playing video games. It's one of those weird things where it's out of the norm. Right now, it's out of the norm. It's like, look at, I'll bring up iDubbbz's girlfriend as an example. You know, you watch her in streams, she's clothed. You go on her Instagram, she's clothed, but it's sexy, right? If you find her attractive, that's up to you. But then you go to her OnlyFans and you get to see the rest. You see how they kind of lure you in? With Mia Malkova, Twitch is like probably the ultimate place for her simps to pay out money, because that is exactly where they're going to be spending their time, and that's going to be where it's different for them. Like, well, I can go watch you, you know, take you know, two dudes at once and get what I need out of that, but I can kind of interact with you directly on Twitch, and that's where that dynamic comes into play. So I give her credit for kind of playing the odds on this one. Anyway, look, I could talk about the whole dynamic involving that stuff probably for a while longer, but let's get back to this here. So on Monday, Vixen Media Group announced that it has plans to make the transition easier for some performers by sending them customized packages, including cameras, ring lights, toys, and lingerie. so they can more easily work from home. In total, the package will be worth 250 grand. The performers who get packages will also be paid for the content they produce, which will be part of a new series called Intimates. So basically, it's just really trying to monetize the solo cam girl work. That's not anything new. That's not anything new. It's not inventive. It's not inventive. That's so dumb. I mean, look, I remember this is going to kind of date me, I think, or at least make people think way worse of me than they actually probably already do. I remember one night I was on 4chan, I was on B, and there was an image circulating of a cam girl who had put a Sharpie in her butt. And like, because it was a fan request, like 4chan had like gone to her room, I forget the name of, I forget her name. And they had gone there and they were like, hey, we'll tip you to put a Sharpie in your butt. And she's like, all right. So she put a Sharpie in her butt and people screen capped it, as they're going to. It's the internet. Everything gets screen capped. And so then after that, she blew up in popularity because she's the girl who's known as being the one who put a Sharpie in her butt. But to 4chan, that was like, golf clap, or FAP, gulp FAP, really, type scenario stuff. And so they really just dove into, again, this is not going to be anything new. Your favorite performer at home, playing with toys is not anything you haven't seen, right? The idea here is you have to do something people have not seen. You have to do that. If you don't do it, what's the goddamn point? I'm not trying to be too graphic here, but I mean, I'm looking at this from the most business savvy perspective. If you are giving something that everybody else out there wants or has or is doing, then you're not being unique, then people just aren't going to care. YouTube is the same way. If you're not being unique enough, people stop paying attention. Trust me, I'm aware of this. A lot of channels, even mine, has been hurt from that, from before everything else too. But even before then, it's like, if you're not doing anything that's supremely unique, then people don't come for the personality. If you don't build the community around the personality, that ends up being a problem. So this is a lot. This is kind of like my wheelhouse. This is where I know a lot of stuff. So I find this story to be fascinating because I find the idea of cam whores and online sex work to be fascinating, because it's, in my mind, not an untapped market because it's super tapped, but it's like how it's kind of bleeding into the mainstream. Where we are on the precipice of that, to me, is fascinating. Now, it goes on to say here that Figson has been, whatever. They're working with a bunch of different people here. So they want to just make sure that everyone is being creative and being, safe. And look, I totally get that. I completely understand that. At no point am I against it. I do think they should spend a fair amount of time and a fair amount of energy trying to sort it all out, trying to make sure that everything is good. And again, I would hope that they would, at this point in time, 100%, go all for that stuff. So anyway, that was one of the stories that I had come across today. I thought was kind of funny. Let me jump over here to the next one. What do I got lined up here? Go to my bookmark bar. Okay, so it's keeping on the subject. All right, keeping on the subject of sex work, because these are just some of the articles that I've found popping up here. Japan in sex work, or online sex workers, might actually be coming to some kind of agreement, or at least some kind of relief if you've been impacted. So according to the Japanese government here, they want to consider including sex workers for virus compensation. Now, so as being an Uber driver and everything else, I'm like getting told now that I qualify for compensation relief because everything has dropped off a bit. And even being a YouTuber, that's a business. Apparently I qualify for some kind of relief because ad revenue on YouTube is down like 80%. It's bad. April is always bad, but this is like the worst it's ever been. And it's not just me, it's literally everyone across the board. So if you want to help out, links are right there, scrolling bar on the video. Check it out, support the channel, support the content. We want to talk about it. Anyway, so this is something I find to be fascinating. Now, according to Kyoto News here, the Japanese government will consider making bar hostesses and sex workers also eligible to receive compensation for parents unable to work due to school closures in the wake of the spread of the new coronavirus, which, look, I actually have to give them credit on that one, right? I mean, how many, come on, how many sex workers do you know? How many strippers do you know? How many people, work in the field, they got kids, and I'm not knocking having the kid part. Like, I got 2 kids, right? I work online. You got to find that time. You got to make that balance. It's tough, man. It's super fucking tough. So I get that, but at least the government's acknowledging that they're not able to work and they're looking at possibly helping them out. So that's pretty good. Now they're backtracking from an earlier decision, saying here that the government will review the main points. However, when asked about the compensation program in association with more vulnerable members of society in a session of the lower house committee on adult or audit and oversight of administration, they said here that under the program subcontracting freelance workers, which is different from the similar scheme for company workers, the government had decided to provide 4,100 yen or $38 a day for those unable to work due to school closures. That seems like a low amount. $38 a day is a little over 1,000 a month. I mean, Japan is fucking expensive, so I don't know if that's enough. It's like that $1,200 payment that we're going to get here in the States, right? That's good for what, maybe 1 month? This is supposed to go on for like at a couple months, could be a year and a half until we get a vaccine. Who knows? So is it going to be enough? We don't know yet, but at least they're kind of thinking more proactively for people who are already impacted that don't work in a field that would be considered like quote unquote normal. And that is what I think is going to be pretty good here. Now, it does say that the government has excluded those in the hostess and sex industry from the program, with the health ministry saying that many businesses in the industry are illegal and have ties to crime syndicates. Well, okay, yeah, I can understand that pushback, right? I get the pushback on it. I understand that. I also don't agree with it because it's like these are still people. But there was a company even in Oklahoma the other day that came out and was all like, well, we're gonna deduct the stimulus check from our employees' wages. They were gonna take the money. They got enough backlash that they said, well, we've made a bad call on that. We're not going to do it, but they still were going to do it. That's the crazy thing. Some of these companies think this is a good idea. Taking money out of the hands of people is during a global pandemic. I don't give a fuck what your rationale for it is. I don't give a shit what you think the rationale for it is. It's a bad rationale. Don't do it. Now, a support group for such workers put a letter out last Thursday calling on the government to review the program's conditions and to protect the lives of all families, regardless of occupation, as the coronavirus takes its toll on the Japanese economy. On Friday, the health minister, Katsunobu Kato, said the government had no plans to change the conditions. However, the government has continued to face criticism that its policy is occupational discrimination, and there has been signature collecting campaign against the initial decision. Okay, they say here they're working for various reasons, and only a few people can voice their concerns, many of whom are also single mothers, says an independent lawmaker when questioned the chief cabinet secretary in the parliamentary session. So, okay, I mean, it kind of feels like looking at the article, the headline might be a little bit misleading. If it's saying to consider it, but at least like single moms might be considered, but if you don't have a kid, you're kind of screwed is the vibe that I get from that specifically. So I don't quite know just what the hell's going on, but we're gonna have to wait and see where that goes. And I think a lot of places are going to end up paying out the cash. I do. I think they are, because even Japan has like tax incentives, like for people to get married and have kids. So, right now social distancing is not a thing. You don't want to do social distancing, but Japan could in fact sit down and really kind of push that, right? Like push the dating scene. Like, oh, do you want to get money? Okay, well, you gotta get together, smash, and get pregnant. They could turn this around to a population boom scheme if they're smart. If they're smart. I'm just saying. Okay. So I want to talk about this particular story coming out of the Daily Wire. Now, over the course of the past couple of years, I have been very critical of the Me Too movement, and predominantly because of the way that it's been used as very much a weapon, and in my mind, not as much of a shield as it should be. It's meant to both protect and attack. I get that. The Time's Up movement, this whole thing with Joe Biden and Tara Reade and how the Time's Up movement would not touch that case because they're a nonprofit and they don't want to be viewed as, well, they can't interact on any kind of government, like on behalf of any kind of activism, like that would be considered political. However, the Biden campaign or Biden himself apparently has paid them like a lot of money since they turned down taking on that case. So I have criticisms about the movement. I do have criticisms about the movement. And one of the things that popped up today or yesterday was really funny was the fact that now it's Alyssa MIlano v. Rose McGowan and the utter destruction of the Me Too movement. So according to this article here from the Daily Wire, from Ash Shao, and Ash is definitely someone I put faith into as being a reporter. She's a little bit biased, but I've been following her work for years, and I do think she comes at it from a place of integrity, although it is the Daily Wire, so take that with a grain of salt. But it says here, Rose McGowan calls Alyssa MIlano a Me Too fraud for supporting Joe Biden after sexual assault allegations. And you have to love this photo here, right? You have to just love this photo here from like way back in the day when they were friends, you know? It's kind of like that image of the that cursed image of all the skeptics from VidCon 2017, right? Back before we all hated each other, and then back then everyone was all happy, hunky dory, huge group photo, and then 6 months later destroyed. It's kind of like that. I mean, if you want to really call this like a cursed image, you could probably call this a cursed image. However, let's find out more. Actress and prominent Me Too activist Rose McGowan had some harsh words for fellow activist and actress Alyssa MIlano after the latter said she was endorsing former Vice President Joe Biden despite sexual assault allegations against him. And look, this Tara Reade allegation thing needs to be investigated. There's no question about that. It needs to be investigated. I mean, if the media spent more time on Bernie Sanders allegedly telling Elizabeth Warren that a woman couldn't be president, going as far as to completely shield Warren and attack Bernie over it. But this allegation comes out and there's nothing. A woman, Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump, it was a consensual affair. Oh my God, we're talking months and months and months of mainstream media coverage and nonstop media coverage. Nothing out of this. Nothing, not a damn thing. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. I don't want Trump to get reelected, but come on. Make no mistake, Tara Reade is going to be at one of the presidential debates, front row, looking dead at Joe Biden. That will happen. Because that's the kind of game Trump likes to play, and the media is just, oh my God. Anyway, McGowan here says on Twitter here, she says, "You are a fraud. This is about holding the media accountable. You go after Trump and Kavanaugh saying, believe victims. You are a lie. You have always been a lie. The corrupt DNC is on the smear job of Tara Reade. So are you. Shame." I'm going to use a weird voice for Rose McGowan because I think she's a weird person, and I think she probably has a weird voice. She's definitely intense. There's that. As the Daily Wire reported, MIlano tweeted a YouTube clip of her appearance on Andy Cohen's Sirius XM show, explaining why she had remained silent after Biden was accused of decades-old sexual assault by a former staff member named Tara Reade, saying, "I have not publicly said anything about this. If you remember, it took me a long time to say anything about Harvey Weinstein as well, because I believe that even though we should believe women, and that is an important thing, what the statement really means is that, for so long the go-to has not been to believe them. So we really have a sort of societal change, the mindset to believing women, but that doesn't mean at the expense of not giving men their due process in investigating situations. So it's got to be fair in both directions." Oh my God. No. What is that? What is that? Look, I mean, don't get me wrong. With this statement, she's 100% right. She is. You have to give everyone due process. She's 100% correct on that front. But this is a bullshit statement. This is absolutely dumb. This is fucking ridiculous. Because 2 years ago, she was not saying this. 2 years ago, she was wearing a pussy hat and marching with everyone else. 2 years ago, she wouldn't have said this. And especially when in regards to something that's like a presidential candidate, the presumptive nominee. This is something that people need to investigate. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. Now, this has been a far cry different from what MIlano has said and how she's acted in other situations. When she condemned Donald Trump and the Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh after they were accused of sexual assault without any investigation whatsoever. I mean, that's very true. She did. Remember, there's that famous image of her at the Supreme Court. When she's at the Kavanaugh hearing, when all of a sudden, you're watching it, and then just Alyssa MIlano's head pops out from the back, and you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck is Alyssa MIlano doing there? And then it's is that Alyssa MIlano? And people were really questioning if it was her, and it was actually her. It's she went to DC, she went there, and here it is, a year later and some change, I guess. I don't remember exactly when it was, but about a year later, and she's totally no due process, baby. It's all about due process. If you don't got due process, you ain't got nothing. So there. She goes on to say here that, I've been very vocal about Biden and my support for him. I've known him for a long time, so I did my due diligence. She said, saying part of the reason she questioned the accusations was an article about how Me Too legal funds Time's Up refused to take Reed's case, even though they said the reason was due to their classification as a nonprofit and not anything to do with whether they believed Reed. Again, and I mentioned that before too, but my whole point on that was you figured they could then recommend her to somebody that would take the case. They would have to have some kind of, there would have to be an offshoot that would not be tied to this specifically that could, I mean, where the hell is Gloria Allred? You know, I mean, like literally, like she's got Google alerts set up for Harvey Weinstein, and she's like, bing, bing, and she sends off messages, and she's at where is Gloria Allred on this one? All I'm saying is like, if you're, there's avenues that could be taken. Clear that the Time's Up movement didn't take those avenues. She says, I just don't feel comfortable throwing away a decent man that I've known for 15 years in this time of complete chaos without there being a thorough investigation. I'm sure the mainstream media would be jumping all over this as well if they found more evidence through their investigating. But the thing is, the mainstream media is not investigating this. They're not talking about this. And I don't want to sit there and accuse Biden of something that may or may not have happened. I don't know. But we have to, what I'm saying is if you are out there, calling for Kavanaugh to be investigated, and you're out there saying Trump should be investigated, and you're out there, backing Harvey Weinstein being convicted for 23 years, and good for him, he's a fucking scumbag. But if you're out there doing all those things, and then this is like a friend of yours, and you're like, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit there and say I don't get it. Like, I get it. I do get it. But own the fucking shit. Own the fucking fact that you're taking this thing, and you're not going to sit there and like you're backing your buddy. Just, you're basically saying all of that. Like it's a read between the lines situation. She's like, well, I'm not going to say anything because he's my friend. Well, where's the fucking objectivity, Miss Milano? Huh? Where's the believe women, Miss Milano? That's my question to you. That's my question. Fucking investigate that shit. Now, Andy jumped in to suggest the mainstream media would be all over the story if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, and if there were more credible evidence. It goes on to say here that's not true, however, as the media rushed to report every accusation against Kavanaugh, even when the evidence was non-existent. Christine Blasey Ford said Kavanaugh attacked her when they were in high school 3 decades earlier, but there isn't one iota of evidence the two were ever in the same room together. Kavanaugh's second accuser, Deborah Ramirez, didn't even know if Kavanaugh was the man who assaulted her until after she talked to Democrat lawyers. The third, Julie Swetnick, was interviewed on TV, even though NBC knew the story was incredible. And look, there's all that. Now it gets into the Me Too stuff here. Milano then took a strange turn for her and other Me Too champions by seriously suggesting that we remember due process. Huh? She says, I sent the Me Too tweet over 2 years ago, and I never thought that it would be something that was going to destroy innocent men. How the fuck do you not know that? Like, how the fuck do you not look at that at that moment, that political climate, and not look at the Aziz Ansari story, and not look at other countless times where men have been falsely accused over the years before Me Too, and not had any inkling of foresight that what could happen was going to happen, right? Let's be fair on this front. It's absolutely fucking there. She's just covering her ass. That's what it is. She's covering her ass. I've covered this shit for years across the board. I've seen so many false allegations come out, so many things happen over the years, and it's like due process doesn't happen in the court of public fucking opinion. So you know what? She's not a legislator. She's not a lawyer. She's not a detective. She's just another fucking couch activist like the fucking rest of Twitter. And the rest of us dumbasses too that sit there on the couch and tweet about shit we may not know everything about. And then go back on it later on. Well, I didn't know that due process was a bad thing. I didn't know that due process was a bad thing. Fuck off. You fucking knew. You said fucking nothing. Fuck off. Which is true. She fucking said nothing. She said absolutely nothing until now. Well, I mean, it's my friend, so maybe due process matters now. Fuck off. She says here, we have to find this balance in the Believe Women movement that also giving men their due process and realizing that we're destroying lives if we publicly don't go through the right steps in order to find out if an accusation is credible or not. I'm fucking the lack of self-awareness is not even zero. It's like it's below zero. It is subarctic temperature. Like you take one step outside, we're talking flash freezing. You turn to ice like Wesley Snipes at the end of Demolition Man. I mean, that is how fucking below self-aware we are. Holy crap. Yeah. And then Ash finishes up here by saying anyone with half a brain could have foreseen the innocent men getting swept up when we're told no women would ever lie about being raped, even though there's historical evidence. And Milano only cares now because it's someone she likes who's being accused. And that's true, man. It's only because it's someone that she likes is being accused. There's all that stuff. I absolutely am just not a fan of Alyssa MIlano. I haven't been for a while anyway, but this just like the lack of self-awareness is just utterly fucking ridiculous. It's just utterly fucking ridiculous. It's just so goddamn stupid. Anyway, I got one more here to talk about. This one here is, I didn't fully believe it at first, and then I realized, wait, it's Walmart. So apparently there is a woman in Pennsylvania who decided that it would be a good idea to Lysol a Walmart employee in the face because they were out of an item. Saying here that woman sprays Walmart cashier in the eyes with Lysol disinfectant after being told there was a limit on the amount of cans she could buy. Sorry, I thought they were out of something. Turns out it's actually a limit. Think about that for a second. Let's really think about that one. We're at a point now where we're trying to limit the items people can buy so everyone can get some, which is good. I think, I still have not been able to find toilet paper for about 3 weeks now. I thankfully still have some, but I'm running low and might have to go foraging soon. And that just actually is not something I'm a huge fan of. Now, according, this is the woman here, I'm assuming. This is the woman here. So a woman is accused of spraying a Leicester Walmart cashier in the eyes. A woman is accused of spraying a Massachusetts Walmart employee in the eyes with Lysol disinfectant after being told there was a limit on the number of cans she could buy. The assault took place at the Walmart Supercenter in Leicester. I'm probably mispronouncing that. On March 27th. So this is a bit of an older one here. Cashier informed the woman that there was a limit on the number of Lysol disinfectant cans she could purchase. The woman is suspected of responding by spraying the employee in the eyes with the liquid, according to the statement, saying that she then completed her purchase and left what in what believed to be have been an Uber. Well, that's not going to be hard to find out then, because Uber keeps track of all that stuff. All you have to do is go, hey, which pickups did you do in front of this Walmart at this time? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, no, it was this person. We have their account right here. Here's their address and all their billing information. So it's not, that's not going to, I don't understand how that's even like if they're like, oh, we can't track an Uber. You totally can track an Uber. The assault required EMS to respond to the scene. The department released an image of the suspect and urged anyone with information related to the incident to call the police. The incident comes as stores across the country have limited the number of cleaning agents and other household supplies people can buy in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. It's fucking true. I'll tell you this though, when it comes to Walmart crowd sizes and sprays, back in 2011, so a little over 8 years ago, for Black Friday, my girlfriend and I went to the Walmart in Porter Ranch, which is in the northwest corner of the valley in LA, the San Fernando Valley, and we went there because I wanted to get video games because they were cheap. I wanted a $35 Battlefield 3. It was a good purchase. But we got there and there's a crowd of people because Walmart hadn't closed down on Thanksgiving night. And when they opened up the section for video games, that place got torn to shit. And a woman got cornered by a group of people. She had her hands on an Xbox. She thought that they were going to be going after the Xbox. And so she pulled out pepper spray and she sprayed the crowd. I happened to be there. My girlfriend shot about 1 minute and 15 seconds of some of the chaos. And you know what? I tweeted about it and went about my business. A couple hours later, I was getting hit up by people asking what the hell was going on. Provided the video footage. And the next day, it blew the fuck up. In fact, I think we made about $800 in 5 days off that video. And it paid for a 4-day cruise to Mexico for us a few months later for my 30th birthday. So that was a fun day. That was a real fun time. But this is some serious shit, though. People, when they're told they can't get something, they freak the fuck out. Like, they absolutely, positively freak the fuck out. That's where it's at. They don't like being told they can't have something. We have a super entitled society here. I don't think there's any other way to describe it. We have a super entitled society full of people that are just desperate to get what they want when they want it, and damn the consequences. And if they're told they can't have something, the petulant child comes out. And it's not just in a pandemic situation. I've seen it happen over fucking video games, firsthand. I was in the blast radius for pepper spray over a fucking Xbox, and $35 Battlefield 3. I've seen this stuff firsthand. It's ridiculous the lengths people will go through in order to get their hands on something, or to be told that they need more of it. And all the talk about toilet paper, all it's done is just perpetuate people buying up toilet paper and hoarding toilet paper. Thankfully I was at Costco yesterday and paper towels are now back in stock. And I was there at the end of the day and they still had a whole wall of paper towels. So you can start to see that after a few weeks, certain things are starting to subside and certain things are going to be restocked. Thankfully, as I keep saying, trust the supply line. But what all this has told me is that if this shit goes down, more and more of these store employees are going to be injured by these, entitled fuckwit people that are just going to be attacking because they're told they can't have what they want right then, because they've been brought up on instant gratification, instant satisfaction societies, and they don't know what the word fucking no means. So get ready for that shit. This is just going to be the beginning if this doesn't get fucking solved. I don't think it's going to go that far. I don't think we're going to go full on apocalyptic, right? I don't think we're going to do that, but I do think we're at a point now where there is a lot of craziness that's going to go on and a lot of shit that's going to happen. And in the meantime, all we have is each other. however fucking weird that is, however fucking odd that is to say, all we have is each other, ladies and gentlemen. All we have, you, me, and everyone else in the process. That's it. So we have to try to work together. We have to try to sit together. We have to try to be together. We have to try to not want to kill each other. And of course, love and hold and cherish and all that good happy fun stuff. But in the meantime, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions. Write them down in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for showing up for the podcast. I'll be back probably on tomorrow, do another round of stories. Have yourself a great day, everybody. Thank you for watching, and peace the fuck out.